Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Power Book 4, 4th Season 1, Episode 3. This is my favorite episode of this season so far. I understand that is not a big statement for a show that is only 3 episodes in, but I do not care. I enjoyed this episode so much.
I really loved this episode. This is what I was waiting for. I wanted to learn more about the Flynn family. I wanted to see more of Diamond and his brother together. I want, of course, more Tommy and JP together. This was like really an episode of brothers and family for me. And that's what the Powerverse does better than almost any other show. It really shows all these different family dynamics, which I think makes this show as relatable as it is to such a wide audience.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, on paper, you wouldn't think that somebody like Tommy Egan would be relatable to any of us because who does some of this stuff?
No, but then you see him with JP
Yes.
and they're looking at their little heights on the wall and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, this episode just so good. And you know what? Why not also hit that subscribe button while you're here with us, because we are going to be here talking all about Power Book 4 Force through the rest of the season. And also, if you guys did not know, Snowfall is coming back in a matter of days. We are just a little bit excited, and by that means tremendously excited.
I love Snowfall. For anyone who didn't see our stuff from last season, like, it is one of my just all-time favorite shows. I cannot wait for it to come back. It is an early birthday gift to me. My birthday is coming up as well. So follow us over on Instagram. We're going to have some fun pictures up there.
All
Okay,
right.
let's start with JB and Tommy.
Okay.
Because for me, this really was like an episode of brothers and getting to know these relationships with all the different brothers that are going on. So we saw that Tommy went over to talk to JP.
Yeah.
And JP was like, listen, I can't take this money. I really don't know where it came from, which was, something I was saying in the last episode. I was surprised that JP didn't ask where, oh, you need 10 grand. Here you go. Oh, you need more. Here you go. That he wasn't kind of like, where is all this money coming from? But he asked that question, was like, listen, I just don't know that this money is coming from any sort of legal sources. So I got to give it back. And Tommy lied to him and said, listen, like it is, I had some businesses with my partner and we sold them. The money's fine. Here you go. How much do you actually need? And that number's pretty high. It's over 100 grand.
There were so many takeaways I had from this conversation with Tommy and JP. Like, I mean, first and foremost, this is all going to come back in some sort of terrible way. I feel pretty confident in saying that.
No.
I don't want it to. It's just, this episode just set up all of these conflicts that I think are going to come up down the road. But I also just enjoyed, and this is delightfully silly, and I'm probably one of the few people who really care about this, the discussion of, oh, this pizza has like the square cuts in it because Chicago cannot make up its mind as to what the signature pizza is, because you get the thin crust and it's got the little square cuts, and then you got the deep dish. It's like, Tommy, why did you not get the deep dish? That is legit the best. Let us know in the comments which Chicago pizza is better.
I appreciate that JP just went straight for the middle, the absolute best part of the pizza that is cut that way.
Yeah, no crust whatsoever.
So they also brought up sort of this idea that they're, who is paying for their grandmother to be where she is in this home? Like, who's behind it? And I mean, JP kind of circled around asking Kate, hey, we could ask for answers, but is Kate behind it? I don't know that she is, and she may not know either. So I think that that's going to be a pretty interesting mystery this season, because if Tommy doesn't know and JP doesn't know, like, who is doing this?
I personally, and this could be blowing up in my face in a few weeks, but I just can't imagine it being Kate, because I just feel like Kate cares about one person, and that's Kate. Like, I just don't see that she's going to be selfless or helpful to really anyone when she was terrible to her own son.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Can we spend a moment here to have the Liliana conversation, because
oh yes, I love her.
Yeah.
She's so funny. She's so charismatic. There's so much about her. I can't say enough how much I really love this
Yeah.
character.
First of all, Force, if you guys kill her off in a couple of episodes, I'm gonna be so legit mad because I'm like fully all in on having Liliana be like a series regular at this
Yes.
point. I also love every now and then, you guys all probably know this when you're watching something and you have like something nagging in your head and you can't figure out what it is, and then like the green light comes off halfway through. I realized like halfway through this episode that actress was Zapada on Blind Spot. I completely like lost my mind in the middle of it. I was like, how did I not know this beforehand?
Also a really good show.
Yeah,
No, she's a great actress.
Yeah.
And yeah, she really brings the chuckles for me. I think she's so funny.
I think what makes her work as a character on this show is just that there is sort of this natural back and forth between her and Tommy, where
Yep.
I guess it's that since Tommy almost killed her previously and she's still alive, she can kind of just do whatever she wants at this point because she's not really that intimidated by him. She actually has something to offer him in terms of here's how you cut the drugs lessons because it's been a minute for him.
Yeah, and it was good to see her stand her ground when Tommy was trying to give her kind of a crappy deal where she was like, no,
Yeah.
50-50 or get out of here.
I also love the scene where they're, doing the meet with like this psychopathic DJ and whatever is going on with this guy. Like that was such a weird, messed up scene.
No, all the stuff with Vic, I really, really liked. I mean, I'm going to say it might be controversial, but I actually really like the Vic character a lot. We got to know him a little bit in the first two episodes, but we really got to know him a lot in this episode where, we see how in love with Gloria he is and how much he wants to change things in the family. He wants to grow the business. He wants to do things differently than his dad. His dad just will not step off of him. We even saw it with that scene where, the other guy was just calling, I think his name was just like, oh, I see that daddy still doesn't trust you. So even the people that they're dealing with don't have respect for Vic, and he just can't get a footing on things to really turn things around. He feels like he's always just that 1 inch away from things being him and himself and really figuring out who he is. Like everything's just a little bit out of reach for him. His woman is a little bit out of reach. Yeah. The business is just a little bit out of reach. The respect could be there if his dad would just stop. He's a very compelling character.
This is the first episode that I genuinely cared about Vic, because I felt like the first episode he was very kind of like generic, crime boss stooge, but kind of like as you just mapped out, I think this episode does an awesome job of sort of establishing this is a guy who is just like fundamentally lost because no one seems to care about him. No one seems to understand who he is. And I think he probably looks at Gloria as like, okay, here is this one person who fully like understands me or I can have some sort of relationship with, and now everything with her and Tommy is going on, and I think that is just like causing all of his sort of further mental anguish. I'm gonna say something here, this may be my chaotic energy, feel free to shut me down in the comments with all of this. You say that you're very pro right now, Vic and Gloria.
Yeah, I think that their chemistry, okay, you guys can come for me in the comments with this, but I actually think that the chemistry with Vic and Gloria is better than Gloria and Tommy. And maybe it's just, I think it was that scene where she was at the graveyard with her mom and he had just bought her, her mom a new gravestone and was just like, yeah, I still, not only do I care about you, but I care about your mother who gave us her stamp of approval, that even in death, I still care for her and want to make sure that she's taken care of. It was just, there's something there between the two of them that just feels so much more genuine. And I mean, Gloria and Tommy, they kind of just met. It feels like obviously it's so much more just physical right now. But I mean, I don't know. I'm rooting for Vic.
I'm kind of shipping Tommy and Liliana. Okay, I'll see myself out now.
No,
This,
I saw it too. The minute that she like had to take her clothes off to be like, "Hey, listen, I'm cutting this now," and he's just like, "I'm not into you that way." I'm like, "Okay, we'll revisit that later."
yeah,
this
she's
season.
just like, oh, I'm not really into you either. And it's just like, this would be so unbelievably
Sure,
messy.
guys.
It would end terribly well. I think it's just, I don't know. It's probably that same part of me that likes watching really messy reality shows at times. Like, that part of me is really rooting for the messy disaster that would be the Liliana and Tommy relationship.
Listen, over on Succession, I am rooting for Roman and Jerry. So, I mean,
Okay,
I
so
like the messiness of the relationships with the really good chemistry.
I'm glad this is a safe space for all of this. But okay,
Anybody else out there rooting for Messi?
So, okay, since we're already on the subject of like really controversial opinions and or theories,
Oh dear.
let's get into because it's kind of connected to Liliana. Let's get into the spider card here.
Yep.
The connections that this could have to the Jimenez cartel, everything with power. I think that this is going to come back in a really bad way later on this season.
For sure.
I don't think they're going to rush anything. I'm still trying to be in a position because I don't want to see Liliana get killed where I'm trying to take her somewhat at her word with a lot of this. But I kind of just feel like Tommy is keeping this in the back of his mind. I think there is, a little bit of an advantage to him trying to get more people around him because I think he might be worried that eventually a war is going to come. And when these Jimenez people show up, he's going to need a little bit of backup. And as great as Liliana can be, I don't think she alone is going to help him stop this.
No, and I mean, Tommy is developing some good relationships. I mean, his relationship with Diamond has already been becoming more and more and more established. Like, they really are starting to get on a path of we can work together. There's some trust there. It's building. Things with Walter are just like all over the place.
Yeah.
He just sort of played out Tommy so that he could have a moment to just tell off Diamond for something he didn't even do. It was good to learn the history of what is going on between these two men.
Yeah.
What Walter thinks Diamond did, what Diamond didn't do, what Walter did do, and sort of Tommy thinking that he could just bring these two to the table. It'll be okay because they have the common thing, which is making money. And that it's just not, he doesn't understand how deep this runs and the complications of what is going on between these two groups because he grew up in a different area. He grew up in a different place where things were a little more diverse and it was like everybody was fine to work with everybody and hang out with everybody and be fine with everybody, which I understand, which is one of why I relate to Tommy. I grew up in Toronto where, I'm not saying it's perfect and it didn't have its own share of problems, but it was very diverse. It was very much everybody's with everybody, working with everybody.
Walter Flynn as a character, he clearly just sort of traps himself in his own weird, terribly offensive bubble where he just wants to work with the people he wants to work with. He doesn't want to look in any other direction. And I'm kind of in this position right now with this guy. I think we can all agree Walter Flynn clearly sucks. I'm just hoping that either he dies at the end of this season, or he finds some sort of way to fundamentally change. Because while this character, created some drama in this sort of standoff that we had in this episode, if he continues to be this inflexible, there's not really gonna be that much more you can do with this character. What are you gonna do? Just have him show up and be awful towards Diamond once every couple of episodes and then bark orders at people? It just feels like that's not a lot.
They did a very good job of making me really dislike him in this episode. He's crappy to Vic, who I'm starting to get, a little sweeter on.
Yeah.
He, of course, is very misogynistic and crappy to Claudia, who I'm also getting sweeter on. It was cool to sort of see her decide that she's going to, cut off her own little bit of the candy and be like, you know what? My dad doesn't want to be part of what I'm bringing to the table. Fine, I'm going to make my own table and I'm going to, do what I can on my own. She's becoming a very interesting character too. But, him being like, put on a dress and go out and sweeten the honey pot. I'm just like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
where's this guy come from that this is still like this? It is 2022. Like, well, get out of your time capsule. Like, even Tommy recognized Claudia to just straight up be like, oh, I can see that you're in this, but you are not in the right role. Like, down the road, maybe we could be working together.
Walter's just spending too much time with his head up his own butt. And I would say something a little bit different here if it did not get us demonetized, but that is where I am with Walter. But Claudia, okay, I will admit at first I was really frustrated with the scene with her and the alderman because it felt like, okay, we kind of know where all this is going to go. But the moment she's like showing him like the pictures that she's taken of the kid.
Dark.
I was like, all right, Claudia. All right. I see you now. This is starting to get a little bit more compelling. And then her like stopping Tommy on the middle and like in the middle of the road, by the way. This is a very, very gutsy move to do with Tommy.
Yeah, her father has missed the mark. Just being stuck in this time capsule of like women have one type of job, the son has the other type of job, where clearly he's got his kids mixed up. Like, we sort of said this earlier in other reviews where he took her hands and was like, what are you going to do with these? You can't punch anybody with these. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, she can fire a gun. Everybody can. And she is able to do other things as well. She's using her mind. She can, if she needs to use firearms, she can. If she needs to have people around her, she can. There's nothing. She doesn't need to be out there beating people up. I mean, This is really like the same with Vic. Vic is using a gun too. He wasn't out there beating up Colin. He was pointing a gun at him. So, she can't do that. Yes, she can.
Yeah. And she also seems to have a plan now, presumably to make more money than you are ever going to, Walter, with your like outdated and backwards way of thinking. Because she's got like this like secret operation she's sort of unrolling right now, and if she can get Tommy linked up in this in some way, Tommy could be the go-between to the CBI if the CBI want to get on board with it.
If Walter dies of cancer in this,
I'm
gonna be mad. He really deserves what he's got coming to him, because I don't think he's gonna make it out of the season. If he does, it better not be cancer that takes him out. I don't want to see that. That will not be satisfying to me. Okay, let's also talk about Diamond and Jannard, because as I said at the beginning of this really was an episode of brothers.
Yes.
And watching them walk through their community and kind of be like, Diamond's like, I really want to help change this, like clean it up, get things together, going to this, baseball diamond. This could all be different and better. And while Jannard agrees, he's kind of like, they both don't seem to really agree on where the money's going to come from, but at least they're on the same page as each other. And I loved seeing them there, pitching balls and hitting balls. It was really cute until it wasn't.
I really liked that scene so much. And it was
the best scene for me of the whole show, of the two of them together.
It was just, it did have that wholesome quality to it. But even if you take the business side of it out of the equation and all of that, like there are plenty of times where, brothers go to the baseball diamond and just have some fun and they get in some sort of petty argument and proceed to almost beat each other up. It's like, that was a very relatable moment I feel like, for a lot of people out there, even aside from the fact that, they're being watched, but like later on.
Yeah, that is going on too. And I'm very curious to see if that recording comes back with sound, because, he was real far away. So like him just recording two brothers out playing ball, I was kind of like, what is this video? Is this video actually going to do anything? You're pretty far away. What kind of Whisper 3000 is going on this phone?
I'm so in on seeing where the CBI kind of goes from here, because Diamond obviously feels like, okay, I really work to get things off the ground. I should be the boss. But Jannard has been the actual guy who's been running it for all this time. And it seems like we're kind of moving, especially after all of the fights that they had in this episode, where Diamond can sort of establish himself as a leader. But I think Jannard kind of sees him as sort of a paper tiger, where he can think that he's in charge and look all fearsome. But in reality, he's just still going to kind of do his own thing.
It really sucked seeing those two have a fight. I'm not going to lie. It was when they got to that point that they were kind of like, listen, if you want the crown, you have to take it from me. And going from them playing
Yes.
baseball and having this brotherly moment to this, like, it hurt my heart to see them having to, like, get to that point where they're punching each other out, and Jannard ends up taking the fall on purpose to kind
Yeah.
of be like, okay, let's let him, like you said, be in this position for now, but the loyalty is with me. I think he needs to have the fall himself so that I can just step in properly.
It was such an interesting moment, and this is why I really like these two characters now. Is we saw all the best and all the worst for them within the span of like a single hour, and then you come out of all this. I think especially with the way that Walter treats him, like so sympathetic for Diamond, who is willing to put all these past differences aside, including all the terrible things that have happened to him at the hands of Walter already,
Yep.
just to try to make something work, only for him to basically just be spit on in that moment again. I feel bad for the guy. I mean, he was already, especially in prison for so many years too.
Walter, you can go.
Yeah, Walter, you can absolutely go.
That scene was so frustrating. I felt so frustrated for Diamond, who's like, you know what? I'm going to put some stuff aside. I'm
Yeah.
going to take this meeting, even though at the end he was kind of like, I knew it was going to go this way, but you know, you never know unless you show up at the table kind of thing, that he's open to seeing a bigger picture, where Walter is just like, yeah, I'll take this meeting so I can berate Diamond. It's just like, get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, I have one little nitpick in this episode,
You
and
can also get out of here.
I'm bringing it up
Get
late
out
in
of
case
here.
people are not watching anymore.
This
But
episode was so good.
it was so good, and this doesn't take away from all of it, but it is just, okay, Liliana and Tommy toasting the ghost, and Tommy telling her the ghost was dead. A part of me loved it.
Okay, I loved it.
No,
No, you can get out.
How does Liliana not know already? It's like, how is this not on the news? This is the
It's
thing.
a big world. Maybe she didn't know.
Okay,
I'll give that a pass.
Maybe Liliana's not watching any TV or going online or anything else, but it's the same sort of thing I had with like Tasha on book 2, where I was sort of like, okay, is she not reading up on Tariq's trial or all of this other sort of stuff?
Okay, listen, with the Tasha thing, yes, I understand. She would be looking because that is her son. Liliana, no. She's invested in ghosts, but she's not going to be out looking for what's happening to him. Like, if she comes across it, she comes across it. Maybe she's not on Twitter.
Well, you know what? It's okay. I'm not going to lie. I did love the moment. Like, I did love them
I loved
having
it.
the
I thought
toast.
it was so just, yeah, no, it felt like the moment that the two of them were like, okay, what happened? It's done. Now we're here.
I hope that's the case. Please, Liliana, don't be betraying Tommy Egan. Don't have some sort of like side thing going on, and you're more connected to the Jimenezes than we even know, or all of that other stuff. I will be so sad. All right, I'm really happy we got this episode. I think it's gonna set the stage for so much other great stuff. And you know, if you guys loved it as well, hit that subscribe button so that we can come back here, rant and rave about this show some more. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and we will see you here next time.